I want to tell you a story about one of the candidates to become the next mayor of Greater Manchester. He says that if he's elected, he'll ask the public if they want to scrap the role. So Nick Buckley thinks the majority of people either don't know what the mayor does or don't think it's necessary. Now, our political reporter Kevin Fitzpatrick has been speaking to him. You know, when I first heard about this, I felt like it was Inception, a mayor who doesn't want to be a mayor, who wants to scrap the mayor. I felt like he was Leonardo DiCaprio, never mind Nick Buckley.
Yeah, well, it's not far off, is it? So, essentially saying if he won the election and then the referendum he's promising to hold came back with Greater Manchester's residents voting to get rid of the mayor, and him as the current holder, he would potentially be up for being out of a job. Now, it's worth pointing out that he couldn't then just disband the role. That's not in his gift. That would be a government decision. But this is a key pledge from Nick Buckley, who's already announced he's intending to stand in the election next May. It's for the position currently held by Labour's Andy Burnham, who's also announced that he intends to stand for election again. And Nick Buckley's been telling me why he wants to do it.
I've been speaking to many people over the last few years, and so many people have told me they don't want the position of mayor. Nobody asked them did they want it, and it was forced upon them a few years ago. So I've decided there's a hole here in our democracy because nobody was asked. So let's go back to the people and let's get that box ticked. So if elected mayor, I'm going to hold a referendum across Greater Manchester to see if the people actually want a mayor or not. If they do, great, and if they don't, we'll go to Westminster and we'll see what we can do there.
So if the public said we don't want the position that you currently hold, you'd be essentially ending your job?
Absolutely, and that's what most politicians never do. It's all about the next election, how do I get elected again? I'm not in it for that, I'm in it to serve the people. And if we've got this layer of bureaucracy called the mayor's office, which then confuses everybody with local councillors, MPs, national government, who do you hold accountable now? It's just an extra layer that costs us all money. If the people don't want it, let's get rid of it.
The mayor did come with these devolution deals though, didn't it? So Greater Manchester has specific powers, and legally at the moment it needs a mayor to oversee that.
It does, but we could replace the mayor with what we had before, which was the Greater Manchester Combined Authority. So we could still get the 10 councils working together, which then replaces the mayor's office. It might need some tweaks in legislation, it needs some conversations with Westminster, but the point is, if the people don't want the mayor's office, why should they keep it? So let's give this problem back to Westminster if the people say they don't want it.
So that's candidate Nick Buckley speaking there. Kevin, is this an approach then we may see from other candidates as well?
Well, it's not out of the question that I suppose any of the other independents might come forward and say we also object to this role and we're standing to make a point against it. Because there is a feeling among some in the wider world of politics that there's still a lot of unhappiness about the role of the mayor that's seen as having been imposed on the people of Greater Manchester without them being consulted on it. Even some Conservative MPs don't think the role should exist. They don't think it's necessary. But currently the role is here to stay. It comes with a lot of power, a lot of profile, and the main parties will all be standing candidates in the hope that they could gain control of that position.
Just remind us what the powers the mayor in Greater Manchester has.
Well, at the moment it's Mayor Andy Burnham. He oversees public transport, housing, planning, as well as police and the fire service, and he has some say over health, and then recently a new ability to influence further education. That came in another devolution deal that was done with the government. And the mayor has to work with the 10 councils, but the government's original idea was that when it handed over control of these big budgets to local leaders, the public would need one person that they could look to as being directly accountable, someone they could keep electing if they like them or vote out and replace if they're not happy with the job they're doing. So we'll get that chance to vote next May. Nick Buckley thinks his promise of a referendum on the role is something that could really chime with voters who aren't really sure whether they think we should have a mayor or not.